In this video, we're mounting our second module. We already have our first one squared up, so we know where it's going. We're going to cover our grounding for our modules, and we're also going to be covering our wire management strategy for our modules. This wire management strategy was planned in our pre-wiring diagram that we did before we got up on the roof. So we know where we're going with all of our leads, where we know where we're going with all of our grounding wires. So let's get started. Here's the mid clamp that we'll be putting between our first and second module. That will hold our second module to start. And this added piece of equipment here is our weeb clip. Wiley Electronics has manufactured this just specifically for this rack. Every rack needs to have its own specific clip. If it does not, then you cannot use this product. The way this works for our situation is these little grooves lay into the rail, and our T-bolt can now fit through that little slot. So I can drop that onto the rail, my T-bolt can go into the slot, and then I can go ahead and tighten my rail, tighten this bolt to my modules as I did showing you in the first clip. Here's our wire management clips. It's about a 5-year-old product. Revolutionized the industry and the work that we do. We used to manage everything with wire ties. This is much more of a 25-year solution, as that's how long we expect these things to work for, actually beyond that. So they're manufactured to slip directly on the frame of the module, like so. And I have the inside is where I want to run my wire. Here's my wire, and they simply line them up and snap them in. And now my wire is protected from physical damage. It's protected from anything underneath, and I have enough to connect to my next module. This is the plan that I was referring to in our wiring diagram from the start of our video. Both of these wires are now ready and prepped to be laid down. This will connect with our first module, and this will connect to our third module that will lay right here. So I have my mid clips all prepped. I have my weeb lugs standing by ready to go. My module is in position. I have my wires already managed. And before I lay this down, it'd be great if I can make this connection. This is my first module, and this is my second module. So I can connect those together, and then I can lay this down and get our clips on. Now like so. And our hardware makes for a 1-inch gap. That just happens to be how our hardware is. Different racks have 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, depending on what it is. We've known this because when we laid out our rails and we cut our rails, we accounted for how many modules we're putting on, how wide are our modules, and we also accounted for this 1-inch gap between all modules, so we don't have rails that are too excessively long. Again, we've all done this in our prep before we took 1 foot and stepped on the roof. So now that my module is roughly in place, I'm going to slip my weeb clip in between. And drop on my mid clamp. And this is where it's crucial to have your assistant down below keeping the module from slipping right off of your rails. That's it right there. Retighten. I'm also doing a visual inspection of the weeb clip. I have about less than an 1/8 inch, maybe a 1/16 of an inch or less of play. So the only way to check is to visually confirm and see that my dimple on my weeb is indeed between my module frame and my rail. So now I'm happy with my position. I've tightened it in. Once I have everything in, I'll come back and torque all of my final connections.